Hey, what up, what up, what up? Y'all know what it is, Vibes. You know what I'm saying? Coming to you live. You know what I mean? Let me get a shout out, you know what I mean, to my co-host, Nick J. You know what I mean, your boy, Marc. You know what I mean? Nick J in the building. You know what I mean? Nick, how's going out there?
Everything is everything. Everything is everything. Had a wonderful Mother's Day.
Okay.
My kids made me breakfast. Well, they brought me breakfast in bed, which was Fruit Loops, which is what I wanted. And
Really? Okay. Yeah, I
and
thought
then
you
I,
were gonna
I,
say
I like
something else.
spent the rest of the huh?
I thought you were gonna say something else. She like, no, just give me the Fruit Loops. I'm good.
Yeah, I like them silly cereals. And then I spent the rest of the day like catching up on Snowfall
Okay.
and bunch of crime documentaries.
Okay. All right. You know what I mean? You know what? Before we get into it, this is one thing I never understand, right? People will be
Mm.
scared of horror movies, but watch like the real life crime documentary and fall asleep like it was nothing. You know? I'll never understand that part.
Um, so I couldn't. I watched the Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker one.
Yeah,
I
all right.
couldn't.
I got
I had to watch that in the day. I couldn't watch
you. Okay.
that at night.
He's like, I ain't
Um,
watching that at night. Nah.
mm-mm, mm-mm,
I
mm-mm.
feel you on that. I
Yeah, no,
feel
no,
you on
no.
that. All right. Well, let's get into it. We gonna start NBA playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Philly knotted it up last night. You know what I'm saying? The series is 2-2 versus Miami, going back to Miami, I think tomorrow or Wednesday. Embiid is back, you know what I'm saying? The true MVP. I know the other guy won MVP today, but I'm just like, he's sitting at home on the couch drinking a beer. I don't know how that guy's the MVP when you're home on the couch. They're gonna give him the award in his backyard or something. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, man, I'm like MVP still should be playing, but that's just my opinion on it. So that's going on. You know what I'm saying? The series is starting to get tight. I'll tell you one thing, that Golden State Memphis series, I'm like, listen, I expect somebody to get punched in the face. So I'm like, the way they're very physical out there, so I'm expecting a fight very soon, you know. But speaking of fights though, speaking of fights, this happened right here. Let me bring this up. Right here. Okay. Let me bring this up right there. Okay. Now, this is Chris Paul from the Phoenix Suns, right? They lost the game versus Dallas, but that wasn't the big story. The big story was this kid, this punk ass kid, right? Him right there, this punk ass kid. Apparently he touched Chris Paul mom or pushed his mom or whatever. I guess the moms were going at it, and I guess he wanted to jump in or whatever. But I'm just like, first thing, you don't be putting your hands on no female, right? So obviously this kid had already seen his mama get beat, probably. You know what I mean? I think that's okay behavior. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I'm going to say is, if they let some of these NBA players, you know what I mean, for whoop some ass, I can guarantee you them fans will get in line and not just be like, oh, I paid my ticket, so I can do and say what I want. You know what I mean? Act how I want. Okay. I hope, you know what I hope? I hope one of these guys catch one of these fans on the street. I always pray for that to happen. Yeah, I mean, Nick J, I'm gonna ask.
Prayer.
I'm gonna ask you, after hearing this story, seeing some of the videos, seeing the pictures, just what are you thinking?
First off, hey Rob.
What up, Rob?
Like how old was that kid?
I think a teenager. I think he was young. I think he was yummy young, but old enough to know better.
No. Yeah. That was not the point. It just boggles my mind how like a little teenage kid thought that it was right to do that. Like,
right.
I mean, even on a basic respect level, you don't go around putting, like fighting people, but let alone your elders. So, like it makes me think about what's going on with this kid's raising.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I definitely agree with that. But that was wild, though. I'm just like, I I know some people, they were just like, listen, if I was Chris Paul, I'd already done jumped over there. He like, you know, give me the suspension. It don't matter. I'm already there, you know. So I'm just like, okay, I got y'all. You know, Ma, what up? What's going on, family? You know, but that was a little crazy. So we gonna move on to this right here. Man, Canelo Alvarez loses the fight. And not only did he lose, he lost pretty badly, right? Canelo is considered like the best in the sport right now. And he got his ass whooped. I mean, simple as that. You know, it was unanimous decision, right? But people were saying, you know, like, yo, Alvarez, you know, Canelo, I'm trying to tell you, you know, Canelo is good as Floyd Mayweather. I'm just like Floyd Mayweather who beat his ass, you know, years ago. But I'm just like, that was crazy right there. But I'm like, one thing I'll say about boxing, when you go up in weight, right? And this might be true in actual real fight, right? But when you go up in weight class, your punches ain't gonna be as effective. You know what I'm saying? You know, in most cases. You know, so if you hit with power and you're hitting a bigger guy, that power might not be, you know, it might not transition as well. So I'm just like, man, you know, but Mike Tyson
what happened here.
On it, huh?
I said, and that's what happened here.
Yeah, you know, I think it did, but Mike Tyson had his thoughts on it. I'm just like, wait a minute, is Mike Tyson gonna become a trainer? I'm just like, man, I would love to see it personally.
That would be dope. Yeah. That would be dope. I would love to see it.
I'm trying to tell you, you know, Mike, he know boxing. Like he's really like he has a real high IQ for it. Like not only was he really good at it, but he knows like all the history and all that stuff. So
yeah.
I like, listen, Canelo, you might want to reach out, y'all mean the Iron Mike. He might could teach you a couple things, you know, how to win that next fight. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna move on from that. And we're going to move on to this right here. Snoop, part owner in the Big Three. Let me see if I can get this up here for you. Oh, there you go. You know what I mean? He purchased part of the Big Three or whatever, right? Ownership stake in Ice Cube's Big Three League. I
did not realize how much taller he was in that picture.
Well, Snoop is tall, though. Snoop, you know what I'm saying?
He made Cube look like a midget.
Yeah. You know, I think, but I think Cube is like really short though. You know what I'm saying? And you know, cause I'm like, you know, me and my brother are short, right? And he's like, yeah, I met Cube when I lived in LA, and he's just like, yeah, he's shorter than me. I'm like, oh, okay, got you. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you know, Snoop Dogg being a part of anything is always good. The guy just has he's every. I mean, what is Snoop not on? Snoop's on the TV every day. Like, it's not a day you could watch TV and not see Snoop. You know what I'm saying? Not one day. So, you know, what do you think about that, Nick? You know what I'm saying? I think
it's dope. I remember when Cube first, you know, came out with the Big Three, and you know, there were naysayers, of course, but it seems to be he seemed to be doing all right with it. And so as more people, you know, buy stakes in it, it just adds more validity to it. And it just shows that this is like a real thing. Like, you know, it's another means of income for, you know, for players, you know, who may be retired. Like I remember AI was supposed to be in it. Yeah. Yeah. So it, you know, and I would actually go to a game.
Yeah. It did come to Philly, you know, like a while ago, right? Like once before. Shout out to my cousin, retired NBA player. He played in the first year. So shout cousin Mike, you know what I'm saying? You know, I was happy to be there, see you boys still, you know, you still got it. You know what I'm saying? I always keep asking him. I always ask him, I'm like, man, you know, you ever think about coming back? He like, listen, he like, look, cuz I only got 10 minutes in me, right? He like, after 10 minutes, people just gonna be going right by me like it ain't nothing. He like, I got 10 minutes. That's all I can give a team is 10 minutes. Not 11 minutes, not 10 minutes and 20 seconds. No, 10 exact minutes. That's all I can give. I'm like, all right. I like, man, well, you know yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I understand. Yeah. You know. All right, so we're gonna go to the Mark 5 real quick. We're gonna do this, and we gotta bring this up. We gotta bring this up. This first topic. You know what I'm saying? Dave Chappelle. You know what I'm saying? Dave Chappelle got attacked. Right now, you know what I'm saying? We know who Dave Chappelle is, he's on the left, right? Now the guy who, you know what I mean, who tried to attack him is on the right. So let me get into that story real quick. Basically, it was a bunch of comedians whooping his ass. You know what I'm saying? And then broke his arm, right? But can we put that picture up again? Yeah, we can get that up one more time. Mm-hmm. So this is a fake gun, a prop gun, but it was a real knife, like on the end. I'm like, if this dude really, like, you know, was skilled with, you know, weapons or whatever, he really could have stabbed Dave. Like, yeah. I'm like, yo, like the fact that he got in, I'm like, this has to be the worst security ever. You know, the fact that he got in, got on stage with a weapon. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, listen, if something happened to Dave, oh goodness. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
ready to fight.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy though. I'm like, man, you know, I'm like, listen, I'm like, I went to high school basketball games, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, the security was better than that.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, Nick, what'd you think about that whole situation?
I didn't see a motive. Like, was there ever a motive released? I did see where it said that Jamie Foxx and somebody else had beat him up, and you know, a bunch of people had stomped the guy out, which was obvious. Somebody got him.
definitely that.
But I didn't see where it said that there was a motive. So, like, was he just psycho?
I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna say like this, right? First thing, these young kids, right, today, they really do stuff for clout. They really, this clout chasing thing is a real drug for them, right? And whatever the consequences are, is worth it, right? I don't really understand it myself, but I'm like, I'll give you a story real quick. One day I was really in Acme, right? You know, it's this yogurt that my mom likes, and it's only at Acme, right, on City Avenue. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the Acme, and I'm just, all right, I got 10 yogurts, you know what I'm saying, and some oat milk, right, for mom, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just in the line about to go to the little self-checkout thing, and this guy, you know, he just falls out, like, on the floor, right? But, like, young black dude, right? And he fell out on the floor, right? You know, like he was passed out or whatever, right? And, you know what I'm saying, this other guy comes in and just starts taking his sneakers off.
Hey,
hey, what's up, Tay-San? Street Team General, what up? You know what I'm saying? But he takes his, like, sneakers off. He had these Jordans on. He took them off, and he was, like, about to walk out the store or whatever. But it was, like, a cop there, right? And he ain't see the cop. And the cop tackled him. And then then the guy who was, like, fell out earlier was like, yo, you know, it's a prank. We're just filming a prank. It's a prank. Like, I was like, man, first thing, I was like, dude, I'm like, you know anything about Philadelphia, right? You do not try shit like that in Ballard-Kenwood. That's the suburbs, dog. Like, seriously, they gonna just lock you up just for general purpose. Yeah, that's what they gonna do. So, bad idea. But what I say that to say this, I think this kid just jumped on stage, clout chasing, right? Wanted the attention, wanting the fame, think he's gonna do something, and then he got his ass beat. But I don't think he really minds that. You know, I think, I mean, for him, it's probably worth it. So I don't know. I mean, that's all crazy to me, but I'm just like, listen, crazy thing. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to something else. You know what I'm saying? This is a little bit crazy too. This is Drake, and he DM'd this troll's wife, right? So I'm just like, man, what happened is that I think, I mean, the guy said something about you like, yo, man, your son played with ghostwriters. He was like, yo, man, I mean, sound like your lady needs excitement in her life. I might slide in the DMs. And he did. He slid in the DMs, you know what I mean, basically saying you could do better. I'm like, yo, that was wild. You know what I'm saying? You know, even the guy was just like, man, you know, He like, I understand I was trolling him, but I think he crossed the line. I'm like, listen, I was like, the fact that, you know, and I heard that they had a conversation. I'm like, see, right there, that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? I was like, if that's your wife and she having a conversation with another man, you know what I'm saying, then that's a problem. You know what I mean? I'm like, she ain't gonna be your wife for much longer if she's having conversations with other men. Sorry. Not gonna agree. Nick, what do you think?
Petty wars, I mean,
Yeah.
Drake is known to be, to be petty.
Yeah.
I saw where the wife had put up like a thing in her story about how she's married, she's happy to be married, she didn't ask for all this attention, and you know.
Yeah.
Don't talk about people's kids. Don't talk about your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was like, he probably didn't expect that response, but he got what he was looking for.
And then, yeah. It wasn't just the response; it was the action behind the response.
Yeah. I was just like, man, it'd been like, I don't know. You don't have to respond, wife. You know, you could have just been like, I'm good, and left it alone. But nah, you wanted to respond to him. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, okay.
Hey,
Now,
the champagne poppy.
Yeah. All right, wait a minute. Hold on. I gotta switch something up real quick.
Sound like you typing.
Yeah, I had to switch this up real quick, right? So ASAP Rocky calls out Chris Brown, right? We all know, you know what I'm saying, the infamous, beating, you know what I mean, for that, what you call it, you know what I mean, for, all right, wait a minute, here's ago. Yeah, so we know that from years ago, whatever, right? To me, this is another clout chase move, you know what I'm saying? Because he says, you know what I mean, for, I think he says, like, I don't beat my bitch, I need my bitch, right? I'm like, ASAP Rocky, I'm like, you haven't done a record in years. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's nice that you with Rihanna and all of that. Yeah, I mean, y'all vibing and, you know what I mean, first child on the way for both y'all. Okay, I can respect that. But I'm like, dude, was this really necessary? It just sounds like another clout chase move. I'm sorry. It just was the most unnecessary lyric ever. Like, that was years ago that happened. Years ago. That wasn't like a couple weeks ago. That was years ago. Why are you still bringing it up? What you think?
I think what you're saying.
Or should that never go away because that's his woman now?
I mean, okay, so like when I talk to my girl about things that happened in the past, she be like, yo, you want me to go see him? You want me to go see him? And I think that if I say, yeah, she would actually do it. Like when you really care about, and there's like some stuff that she tells me, and like when you really care about someone, even if it's some shit that happened before you, it's gonna affect you just off the strength of you caring about that person. It might have also been like some ego shit. I don't know. But I like the song. I thought the video was cute.
Okay. All right. I got you. I
really like the song and I really like the video. I love hood shit.
I feel you on that. I was like, man, to me, it's just kind of like cap. Like, I want to make everything look good in front of my woman and everything. But I was like, man, I'm like, Chris Brown, like a whole different person now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ever since he had them kids, you know what I mean? He didn't kind of calm down. Like,
it was a very nice documentary about himself that he had put. What was it called? I forget, but it was nice. It was nice, and it made me see Chris Brown in a whole different light. It was after he had his first daughter.
Yeah, I mean, when that kind of stuff happens, when life hits you, it's just like, all right, like I'm not really gonna be that wild no more. I'm gonna fall back, and that's kind of what happened, I think with Chris. So we'll see how this goes.
When you put stuff out like that lyric, it's out forever. You know what I'm saying? And so it'll probably bring about a whole bunch of unnecessary nonsense.
I'll say like
He
this.
really didn't have to do that. He knocked Rihanna up. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like
I
that,
mean,
that
if I'm Chris Brown, I just kind of leave it alone. I'm just whatever. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I'll keep it at that. All right, so now we got to go to this guy, R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. I'm gonna say like this. You know, the man had his opinions, right? Strong opinions. People really thought he was really just coming after, you know, females, in particular black females, but I don't think that was the case though. I think he gave smoke to everybody. You know, I seen him rip apart guys. You know what I'm saying, and just like, yo, you know, get your shit together, you know, type of thing or whatever. But I'm gonna say like this, you know, certainly, you know what I mean, for, you know, some females, you know, didn't like the way, you know what I mean, he was talking to some other females, and you know what I'm saying. I think some people were just like, well, that's his opinion, but other people, you know, when they say he passed away, I mean, they were really jumping for joy. Yeah, so what? So what? He dead. You know what I mean? I'm really like, this is what we doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, man, like, I don't know. That was crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? It was just crazy to me. But Nick, yeah, I mean, what do you think? You know what I'm saying? You know, Kevin Samuels passing, just, I guess, you know, what you thought about his message or how he came across and how people are celebrating his death, I guess, kind of.
I knew of him. You know, I watched a few of his videos, but I didn't really. I'm never like the kind of person to like get into these self-proclaimed relationship gurus.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was homeboy, you know, with the wife with the bonnet on her head,
or
anybody else. Yeah. Like I just don't get into them.
Right.
And I what I didn't understand is that, you know, people would call in for his advice. Yeah. They knew what he stood for, and then they would get upset and offended. It was weird. But it was weird. Like he, you know, like you hear his name all the time, and then it was like he passed away, and it was like, so it, you know, it just seemed to, I guess, a lot of times death comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I feel you. You know, this is one thing, you know what I mean, that I will clear up, right? You know what I'm saying? There's a chick I know on Instagram named Afghan Shorty, right? And they were saying that was the woman who was with Kevin Samuels the night that he died. And she was like, yo, I'm getting tagged all over the place. I wasn't with no Kevin Samuels. I'm not even in Atlanta. Like,
Afghan who?
Yeah, I mean, for her name is Afghan Shorty on Instagram. You know what I mean? Yeah, she looks good. But that's besides the point.
I figured.
You know, but you know what I mean, the point. But she was just like, "Yo, that's not me. Like, this woman is somebody else. Like, they used her picture, and she like, no, that's not me. Like, I'm not. I've never met Kevin Samuels, and I'm not in Atlanta. Like, I ain't been to Atlanta in a minute. Like, I'm like, all right, I got you. You know,
I think that. Excuse me. Right after he passed away, there was like this effort to discredit everything that he said. Like I saw people saying things like, oh, well, you know, he died and, you know, he wasn't married, but he was with this woman, you know, and they're saying that he didn't have any money and was he really a high value man and such and such. I was brought up on don't speak ill of the dead. However, in light of, you know, my own life experiences, you know, I've now come to the conclusion of fuck that. But like I said, I did not watch his show.
Right.
If his words did harm anyone, you know, I didn't see anyone celebrating. I did see, well, I guess it depends on what you call celebrating. I did see some people say, okay, all right, what you having for lunch? You know, like one of them kind of posts.
Yeah. And that's acceptable, to be honest with you. Like, you know, like if you don't care for somebody, I mean, you're not happy, but you're not sad either.
But like, this is the first time that I'm talking about him because, like, you
Right.
know, like, yeah, I mean, I'll have more when somebody kills Andrew blank blank blank, then I'll be buying balloons and confetti and
Right.
Henny for everyone. That's
Right.
that's where I'm at with it.
I got you. You know what I'm saying?
If anything, Kevin Samuels was a hustler. There's
Yeah.
a market, women. This is a rabbit hole I can go down.
Yeah, I understand. Trust me. I get where you're going from. I'm gonna wrap it up. Yeah, I mean, with Kevin Samuels on this, right? I'm like, listen, if you're somebody, right, and you're confident in yourself, you know what I'm saying? And some people might be way overconfident, right? Who am I, right? Just me. I'm talking to me personally. Who am I to try to rain on your parade, right? I'm like, if you ain't coming at me with no nonsense, hey, sweetheart, you know what I mean? If you think you the best thing in here, you know what I mean, since sliced bread, hey, do you? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be like, yo, shorty, you ain't all that. Like, nah, you ain't gonna get that from me. I'm gonna be like, yo, hey, do your thing. You know what I mean? Hey, send her a drink or something. You know what I mean? Cool. I'm just like, listen, I'm like, listen, if you feel good about yourself, then feel good about yourself. I'm just like, if you extra, then you extra. You know what I mean? Hey, long as you're not using that extra shit to try to come at somebody else or try to demean somebody else, right? Then hey, be extra, be all the extra you want. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I'm gonna say, to that. So I was just like, nobody really should be upset. That's one man's opinion. You know what I mean? If you feel good about yourself, no matter what your situation is, you know what I mean, you're confident in yourself and you want to boast, that to the world, then you go ahead and do it. You ain't gonna get no argument from me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? That's what that is. All right. Now we gotta move on to this last story in the Mark 5. Black China in trouble again. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing that's wrong with Black China, right? Now, you lost the case against the Kardashians, right? You lost all the cases. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, they ain't bankrupt your show. You know what I mean? They ain't do this and do that. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? It's real bad. And you got called out by both your baby fathers, and they happen to be famous. Obviously, one is Rob Kardashian. You know what I mean? The son, of what's that? Kris Jenner, right?
And pardon?
Who's his mom? Is that
Kris
Jenner, right?
Kris Jenner, yeah.
Kris Jenner, okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, and then she also has a baby by Tyga, the rapper.
Yes, I know that.
Right? And they've already said, like, look, we take care of the kids. You don't really do anything. You have the kid one day a week. We got them the other 6. Like, stop. You know what I mean? And
so this was so annoying.
So we're bringing it to this time, right? So I don't know. She's outside of some store and she kicks some woman in the stomach. I'm like, Lord. I'm like, man. Jeez. I was just like, yo, look, I don't know what was said, but I know, you know what I mean, them legs start flying. You know what I mean? Kicked in the stomach. The woman fell to the ground. I'm like, Lord. I'm like, jeez. I was just like, crazy. You know what I'm saying? What you think, though, Nick? Black China, you know what I mean?
I want Black China
kicking people.
I want Black China to go to India, find an ashram, and kind of get in contact, get into her inner soul, and do like some inner self work. At the ashram, she'll be serving people, she'll be, they assigned you different things. You might feed, you might clean, whatever. You might, do the tourist thing. I want her to do this because Black China has forgotten where she comes from.
Mm-hmm. I feel you.
She forgot that she is from DC, not from a well-to-do family, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see anything wrong with being a sex worker. you know,
Okay.
but she really seems to have gotten, you know, like she don't know what to do with herself. She,
Mm-hmm.
you know, one minute she's selling skin lightening problem products, then she's
Right.
like tweeting about, oh, I had to sell 3 of my cars because I'm a single mother, and you know,
Yeah.
she's ridiculous fucking lawsuit. Whoever watched that show knew that Rob was not the problem.
Yeah.
He did some colorful things afterwards, but you know, during the court, like you could see that it was her, and
Mm-hmm.
now she's just
Man, yeah, crazy,
girl,
right?
like Black China. Every time I hear her name, it just wears me out. Every time I hear Tokyo Tony, it
The
just
mama. That's
wears
the
me
mama,
out.
right?
Yes, like just throw the whole family tree away except for Dream.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? All right. So
You're
basically,
annoying.
her and her mama need to go to India like Will Smith. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Got
yeah.
you. Okay. All right. That's what it is. All right. So now we're going to move into the main topic of the evening. We're talking Death Row Records. We're talking the start. We're talking the end. And I think we're talking the start again. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? I'm sorry to start this segment off with some sad news, but I have to. You know what I'm saying? Because it is related to Death Row. This is Jewel, the first
Mhm.
lady of Death Row, and she passed away. I mean, a few days ago. I remember her on the Chronic album. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm like, man, you know, she was hard though. I'm like, if you was a woman on Death Row back then, you better have been hard. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
Seriously, you know, you can't just come with that. I'm like, you know, whatever. I'm like, man, so you know, you Jewel, Lady of Rage, you know what I'm saying? Big Titty Nikki. You know what I mean? They ain't played no games. They ain't played no games over there. You know what I mean? They was doing their thing. So I'm just like, man, but you know, rest in peace, Jewel. You know what I mean? For you had some good contributions, you know, to that Death Row organization, especially to the Chronic. The Chronic considered by many, you know, to be the best rap album ever. Like that's how high of esteem, you know, that record held or whatever.
mhm.
And she certainly was a part of it. If you've seen any of the Death Row documentaries from maybe, you know, a few years ago or back in the day, I mean, she used to tie all that shit together, you know, and let you know kind of who was who and how everything went and everything like that. So I'm like, much props to her. You know what I'm saying? You know, for kind of being, you know, like real fierce in that camp though. You know what I'm saying? And holding it down. So that's what's up with that.
Yeah.
Um, Let me ask you this question, and I'll ask this, you know what I mean, for it to the audience too. Favorite album or favorite song from Death Row? You know what I'm saying? Nick, I'm a fire to you first. You know what I'm saying? What music comes to mind when you're just like, yo, we talking Death Row?
Oh, let's see. Damn. Do Dang, I don't know if it's something off of the Chronic or Doggy Style.
Shoot, I mean, hey, I'm like, man, you know, a lot of hits there. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, with the Chronic, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean you know what I mean, nothing but the G thing, and you
You
know what I'm
know what?
saying?
When when Dre Day came out,
Dre Day, okay.
that shit was a whole like for people who might be watching this that are younger,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I don't, this is not, I'm not shitting on nobody's music from nowadays, but
Gotcha.
I just know that like there are certain songs that came out and there was like a whole feeling that you got and you knew that you was listening to something important, something, you know, mind
Yeah.
blowing, something just totally different. And I got that feeling when I heard Dre Day. That bass line,
Yeah.
oh,
That's all that P-Funk stuff. Yeah, I mean the Dre mixed in.
yeah. Then you look at like the and even though I love NWA, but like then you really got to see like the Cali culture, because like
Right.
this is before the internet. So
Yeah.
we were seeing like the the old school with the hydraulics and whatnot, and it was just like, damn, they kind of fly over there. So yeah, so like that whole P-Funk thing, like it just I that might be it.
Man, shoot, yeah, you talking George Clinton, Boosie Collins, you talking that funk era, and Drayden brought that back, and then he brought them back. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, they did shows together, their videos, and everything like that. I like how Dre kind of knew his history and knew what he was tapping into, and to get those guys on the actual records. You know what I mean? That's what people need to understand. They were on the actual records. So I'm like, for me, I'm like, man, now Doggy Style from Snoop is my favorite, album of all time, period. But I'm gonna tell you, you know what else the Death Row did that I thought was crazy? The Above the Rim soundtrack. Oof. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, and Above the Rim was an East Coast film. Obviously, Tupac was in it and one of the stars of the movie. But I'm just like, man, Death Row really had, for the East feeling them though. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, because NWA, we liked it. You know what I'm saying? East Coast was like, oh, yeah, that's my shit. Or whatever, especially talking to some of the older guys, you know what I'm saying? But when Death Row came around, Snoop and all of them, I think it was a crossover, like, man, look, we bumping this Death Row up in here, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, man, strobe light, red light, party light, we bumping all of that, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't no hate, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, we was with it, you know what I'm saying? We was feeling it, man.
Above the Rim soundtrack might be one of the best soundtracks from a movie.
Oh yeah,
in
absolutely.
Our era.
Absolutely. I'm like, Death Row really, they put out some really good projects. I'm like, the only thing that kind of messed it up, and we're gonna get into this next topic with Death Row, is the controversies. Like, the controversies got bigger than the music, which is crazy. You know what I mean? For how big the music was, but the controversies were just as big. And I'm just like, man, to me, I think, if it was kind of like, I like the edge that they had, but it's just like, Suge Knight being Suge Knight kind of drove it overboard. And had he kind of just like laid back a little bit, I think Death Row, would have kept running, and it kept running strong. But
he wasn't dancing in the videos, but he was in the background fucking people up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna get to the controversies, right? We're gonna get to the controversies. And let me pull this up before we do. We're gonna pull this up. Yeah, the iconic Death Row picture right here, right?
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Tupac, Suge Knight.
It's hard as shit.
I'm like, man, this right here, was iconic. I know multiple people that I know have that picture framed on the wall in their house.
Okay.
Like, that's how important Death Row was to them. You know what I'm saying? And that's how important that, like, that picture symbolizes everything, because I'm like, at that time, you're talking you're talking really four superstars. You're talking, Tupac being, a megastar, right? Yeah, Snoop, for being, a superstar in his own right, and one of the best, for lyrically at that time. Dre being
Snoop was Snoop one of the first to really be out there with his gang ties?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So that's something that, like, Snoop, like the Crip walking, like, people do it for fun, but like, he was really about that gang shit.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's,
absolutely.
that's something that a lot of us, especially us over here, were not exposed to.
Yeah,
Like, and we would see it on movies, but we didn't know like how deep that shit goes.
I'm gonna tell you,
So
I didn't even find out. I didn't really know much about it, like except with TV until I got to college. I got to college, and my shout to my guys from Pittsburgh, but they were banging out in Pittsburgh, and that's how I got exposed to it. But the crazy thing is, it was Crips and like, I went to Cheney, so it was Crips and Bloods on the yard. You know what I'm saying? But it was like the way that they seen it at that time. We at college. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if they don't trip, I ain't gonna trip.
mm-hmm.
We at college. You know what I'm saying? But when the weekends would come up, homecoming and spring fling and all of that, that's when some of their homies from each side would come down. And that's when it could have been a problem. Now, luckily, I think it was only maybe 1 or 2 fights that I know of out of the years I was at college, and one of them got squashed pretty quickly, right? And I think the other one, involved like it was really like a 2-on-2, so it wasn't like 20, 30 guys, but these two, they just had to fight it out or whatever. And the thing is, nobody even seen the fight. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't a bunch of people there. This was like behind, for the dorm or whatever. And then, like old school. Old school, you just duke it out. You don't need no crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, we gonna mix. And that's it. And that's what happened. And we heard about it like the next day. Like, oh, this happened or that happened. But I was like, it was the first time that I was like, damn, you know what I mean? For real, my man who lived next door to me, he's in the dorm room next door. Like, this dude is a real Crip. Like, you know what I'm saying? And this bull over here is a real blood. Like, and they really got the rags and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, talking to them and just kind of finding out about just gang culture and then what it really is, how they grew up in it, kind of it made some they made it make some sense. So I was just like, okay, cool, but we're gonna go back to the controversy though. What's the controversy? What one controversy, really stood out amongst the rest? You know what I'm saying? For real, with Death Row, just like, yo, that was wild right there.
I mean, I think the East Coast, West Coast thing.
Oh,
the Source Awards. The Source Awards. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The Source Awards. What did Suge get up on? You wanna?
Oh yeah, Suge Knight when he was just like,
and where somebody's not dancing around in your videos, and you said something about the shiny suits and all of that. Come to Death Row. And then it was like a big fight backstage and afterwards, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That Source Awards was ugly. I remember watching that shit on TV.
I'm like, man, the fact that all of this was going on live, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, my brother tells this story like really well because it's like he remembers everything that happened. You know what I'm saying? He's like, man, he's like, you gotta understand, this is live TV too. This isn't, you know what I mean? Just something like, that got exacerbated or, how like things, in the stories end up, taking a life of their own, right? Like, this was really happening like on the TV. Like, wow, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would say the thing for me, I thought that was wild. And I watch all the Death Row documentaries. I do all of that. And I'll say like this, right? You know what I'm saying? Now, the one thing, I'm not a fan of DJ Vlad, right? But when I say he covered Death Row and any star that was on Death Row, he covered that mess from start to finish. If you were a fan of Death Row, fan of Tupac or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go to DJ Vlad and he will give you the whole story from start to finish because he interviewed everyone. You know what I'm saying? So that's why when I see documentaries come out about Death Row or about Tupac or whatever, I just like, well, if they ain't talking to the same guy that DJ Vlad talked to, I really don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? He got in depth with that. I was just like, that was like the Pulitzer material. I was like, if he just wasn't such a clown on the other stuff. I mean, I couldn't take it serious. But I'm like, man, that was full of some material he did right there. So I was just like, look, if you want to know anything about Death Row, you know what I mean, or Tupac, or everything, you know what I mean, that he went through or whatever, you gotta go to DJ Vlad and then just let it rip from there. But
okay,
I would say the thing that stood out to me with Death Row, I think really was Suge Knight and just how he handled things. Just I was like, before Suge Knight, you ain't never heard nothing like that. Like, wait a minute, this guy he runs the label. You know what I mean? And he out there fighting. He out there, shooting at people. He doing all that. I mean, hey, what's going on? I like this wild dude right here. You know what I'm saying? So I think Suge Knight and his antics, you never seen anything like that before. I mean, I'm quite sure it was other guys before Suge Knight who were in the music industry who were gangsters, but he really just put it on display. And I'm gonna tell you that
real life Big Red.
Yeah, that picture that he had with the red suit on, you know what I mean? I'm like, gang colors I think Source Magazine. You know what I mean? On the cover with Pac and Snoop. Mm-hmm. That was bold. That was really bold, with Suge Knight. So I would say, controversy is him. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we talked about this briefly, but we're going to touch back on it. The East Coast love for Death Row, right? I like, man, I'm gonna start first, right? I'm just like, I listen to all type of music, even back, when I was a young boy, right? Like if it sound good, it sound good, right? I'm with it. But I'm just like, like Death Row came on scene with Snoop at first, right? And this is deep cover. This is all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, West Coast boys is doing something over here, right? And then like back then, like you didn't get leaks like that. You only got a snippet, right? So let me, for anybody younger watching, snippet is like, look, we're gonna give you about 15 seconds. That's all we giving you, right? So back then, if you thought them 15 seconds were dope, you really, wanted to rewind them 15 seconds over and over again, you know what I'm saying? Because you just vibe, right? Especially, you're talking about Dr. Dre in his prime. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Like Dr. Dre, you say, he's one of the best producers. That's right, like an understatement. I mean, Dr. Dre had such a role from NWA into Death Row. They were saying that Dr. Dre maybe was the most bankable person in music during his run. That means everything he made was gold. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man,
I can believe that.
When it's that good, it's like, that's nuts. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm like, how many producers were able to kind of go on that type of run? I was like, RZA comes to mind. I'm like, he had Wu-Tang popping. Like, you know what I'm saying? He comes to mind. It's a couple others, that come to mind. But I'm like, obviously on the R&B side, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, what they did with the Jacksons and everything. But I'm like, Dr. Dre, Lord, you know what I'm saying? He was just on a roll. Yeah. Got on that roll, was just like, wasn't stopping. So I'm like, man, but the East Coast had love for the Death Row. They really did. And it was just like, I think if you were in the mix with the East Coast, West Coast thing, that's one thing. But I think if you're just somebody from the East Coast, you just like, look, man, I ain't getting that. You know what I mean? We bang with Death Row over here. I ain't getting with that. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of liken it to when like the Locks had beef with State Property and vice versa, right? I'm like, we love the Locks in Philly. Like, like now if the State Property guys and Locks want to mix, all right, whatever, but we ain't jumping in there just because we Philly and they New York. We wasn't doing it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I was just like, I liken it somewhat to that. And I think people on the West Coast had the same thing. Like, man, I bang with, I bang with Nas and, not doing all that. You know what I mean? I ain't getting in it. Now they want to, mix whatever, but I'm like, we ain't getting in that. So I'm like, that's what I take from it. But Nick, I mean, you also being on the East Coast, you know what I'm saying? Death Row, is making their rise to power, and then they just go strong. It's just like, you being on the East Coast, banging with Death Row. You know what I mean? For just how did that feel? How did that work?
All that stuff, at the time, being a teenager is exciting, to watch. Oh, they beefing, all of that. But I was not about to put down the Chronic or Doggy Style or, any of that. Like, come on.
Right.
Like it was never that serious. It shouldn't have been serious for anybody, except for the people that were directly involved.
Right. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. All right. So we'll move to this next part. Now, Snoop, just purchased Death Row Records, like a few months ago, right? You see him with the chain and everything like that. I'm just like, man, for symbolism, I love it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, for all that nostalgia, you know what I mean? For to see Snoop doing that, I love it. I'm like, man, can he start it and it be anywhere near what it was? I don't think so. But I was like, one thing I won't do is I won't underestimate Snoop. If Snoop put his mind to do something, he does pretty well with it. Snoop really puts his hat on and just like, you know what? I'm gonna give the TV a little bit of break. You know what I'm saying? We got some dope artists coming up. You know what I mean? We got some dope producers. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, he will bring Dr. Dre into the mix. Maybe not as a producer so much, but more of an advisor, like an OG to some younger producers.
Yeah.
Maybe to school them on how to do it, because Dr. Dre always says, he's like, this producer game, it's a young man's game. You know what I'm saying? I can still get in there and get busy, but he was just like, man, it's new sounds, it's new things coming out. So he was like, I would want to see what the young guys, you know what I mean, put in there, and then I'll put my little mix in there. So I would like to see Dr. Dre, mentor some young producers, and same with Snoop mentoring some young rappers, and then maybe putting something together like that, bringing some of the OGs back, from Death Row, Daz, Corrupt, Lady of Rage, just, you know what I'm saying, and see if they could sprinkle, you know what I mean, for real, some of that magic on some of these up and comers. You know what I mean? That would be dope. You know what I'm saying? If it's like that. But Snoop purchasing Death Row. Nick, what you think?
There are some, and there's some real dope rappers. They're already signed and everything, but there's some real dope rappers that I like. Like of course, who don't like Kendrick Lamar?
Yeah.
Who has a new song out? But
new project.
J Rock, I love him.
Yep.
Oh, I'm trying to think of who else, but it's so there's always been a plethora of talent. What did I just say?
Is it Bevy? Is it Bevy of talent?
I think it's do like Becca and get into my Google.
I think it's Bevy. You know what I'm saying? I think it's Bevy. I think it's Bevy. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? All right. We got it. We got it right. Okay. I got you.
You are right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That was like one of them random facts that was in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like it happens sometimes, just random stuff. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. Like random stuff, but I would say like I'm rooting for him though. I'm like, man, I want to see them, maybe get something going. You know what I'm saying? I'm rooting for him. You know what I mean? And we'll see what happens with that.
And Snoop, he's really on his grown man shit. It's beautiful to see. And he's been on that. So I think that he obviously is very business minded. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I agree. I think once, you know what I mean, he has time to really get with it. Because I know he just purchased it or whatever, right? And he has a bunch of other things going on. But once he
coaches
really
his
can
son's
kind of
football
think
team,
deep
don't he?
into it. Huh?
Don't he also coach his son's football team?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but he been doing stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I think, one son's like he's like a model now or whatever, and he does that. I'm like, the kids do all types of stuff too. So I was just like, yeah, it's very business oriented family. You know what I'm saying? Snoop, the wife, you know what I mean, the kids. So I'm just like, man, they doing good. The Snoops are doing good. you know. Last question. The impact of Death Row. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, you seen how it started? First record we heard, obviously, Deep Cover. You know what I'm saying? Snoop Dr. Dre on the Deep Cover soundtrack. And then, it just kind of took off from there. Just the era, the music that it brought, you know what I mean? The excitement, you know what I mean? The controversy, you know what I'm saying? Just what do you think about just the whole thing from start to finish? You know what I'm saying?
So I was a huge NWA fan.
Okay.
And I was, a huge, well, I still am a huge Ice Cube fan. And then, for like a while, like you didn't really hear, like Dre wasn't like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, and then like all of a sudden, like I don't even remember what the fuck Deep Cover was about. Just like I don't remember what Above the Rim was about.
Right.
Like I saw it. I can't tell you one single scene, but I remember the music. And it was like Dre really worked hard to master his craft.
Mm-hmm.
And the payoff has just been so big. I mean, and his family tree, like, like
Okay. All right. Hey, I think Nick. Yeah, I mean, I think she's frozen. She's freezing.
It's like Impact when Pac went to Death Row. It was such a huge moment.
Yeah.
Snoop, like just the way that that culture was brought to us, live and in color. Snoop with the afro, riding on the bike, the Chucks.
Yeah.
I mean, just like everything, it was just really, really dope. It brought us, some shit that a lot of us never seen before.
Right.
And it just, like who was it? It was Andre 3000. He said the South got something to say. It was like in that moment, it was like the West Coast got something to say.
Yeah. I feel you. I'm gonna say like this.
And like ever since then, nobody has gotten tired of hearing West Coast artists. Like, and they consistently put out. Kendrick Lamar is like one of the top MCs out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I mean, like the West Coast, ever since then, the West Coast has never stopped being hot. So, I mean, they really, I mean, like, what kind of impact is like that alone?
Well, you see the impact that it had on Kendrick Lamar. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he really talks about, like, look, I would not be here if it wasn't for this era coming, because this is what inspired me, to get on the mic and get busy. Period. Yeah. I'm gonna say like this, man. The impact was insane, because I was such a fan of Death Row and all the artists, and I look at a lot of things that came out.
Who's the Gemini? Dre?
No, was it Kendrick? You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, man, like if you look at even the guys singing on the records now, I'm like, well, you get that from Nate Dogg. Like, if it wasn't no Nate Dogg, I don't even know if that'd be cool like that. You know what I'm saying? Nate Dogg, because like Nate Dogg was like hard. Like, this dude hard, but he had a melodic voice, and he
Mm-hmm.
could bring that to a track. I'm like, man, Nate Dogg he was so far ahead of his time. It's insane. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I know Nate Dogg
Wow.
gotta be smiling down from heaven, like, look at what y'all mean for real, I got going on here with all these guys, you know what I'm saying? So, and you'll hear like guys from this era give their props to Nate Dogg. You know, you hear Drake say it, you hear, some of the other singers say it, but Drake was just like, man, he's like, I remember seeing a video of him. He's like, man, yeah, I'm about to go in the studio, get on my Nate Dogg. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, so he know where it come from. But I'm like, man, Nate Dogg he was special, man. You know what I'm saying? And the era was special. But they had something really going. All them people, was collabing and really, was about the music. And so I can understand how, yeah, I agree, Tina. I agree with that. That was my shit. You know what I'm saying? But I can understand how, you know, um, how it was so special there by the music that they made. I'm like, man, you talking Chronic, Doggy Style, Murder Was the Case, Above the Rim. You know what I'm saying? The Dog Pound's first album, and then the singles, for that came out, Lady of Rage has some stuff, and Jewels has some stuff, you know what I'm saying? They Dog, and man, you can go on and on, with that, you know what I'm saying? And they did some nice collaborations with different artists too. So I was like, man, Death Row was an era. The controversy was crazy, but I mean, we enjoyed the ride. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, when Pop came there and he got this thing off, and I'm like, man, I'm like, yo, you was feeling it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, like it was a fun era for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed that music. It's music that I will still listen to today. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because the Death Row music's so good. I play it, and then got my nephews in the car, and they like it. You know what I'm saying? They like, yo, who's this, man? You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
it's timeless music. It was timeless music, a timeless era for Death Row, and an era that's probably going to be remembered, for a long, long time. So I'm like, man, props to Death Row. Props to Death Row.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? All right, so Nick, we about to wrap this up. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to your final thoughts, you know what I mean? For real, on tonight's show.
To fight for real. You might get stomped out. Black China, go find something positive to do. And if you go onto YouTube, if y'all are too, for those who are too young to like know what we're talking about, like go onto YouTube and just like there's these videos, these twins, and well, there's a lot of those react shows now, but like watch their expressions of when they first hear certain songs. And I mean, like the music really is timeless. You just, I want to say you just had to have been there. I hate when people say that, but you really did have to be there. But since you weren't, go back and listen to that music. If you can find the tape, the Doggy Style tape, unfold that shit and look at it like we all did when we was kids.
Yeah, and they really tried to get that band. They didn't actually want us to see, what was in the CD cover. You know what I'm saying? Because the cartoon was wild. It was.
Yes, it was.
It was wild though. I'm not even gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? But a man ain't want us to see that. You know what I'm saying? Politicians was all over that.
But like yeah, man, shout out to Snoop. And it's not just because of DMX. Rest in peace. But I really, really, really enjoyed that Snoop DMX versus. Snoop was just having so much fun. He is in just like he's just really having fun in life. And it was so
Mm-hmm.
go to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
You
definitely
know,
agree
he
with you
was
there.
wearing his whole, the bandana.
Yeah.
So just shout out to all, to all of that. Shout out to Cali, shout out to Death Row, shout out to, all of that.
Right. No doubt.
Money,
No
weed, and weather. No, women, weed, and weather.
doubt. Man, I'm gonna say like this, uh before I wrap up, let me give a shout to all our sponsors, you know what I'm saying? Facebook Live, YouTube Live, you know what I mean, for Bobby Blackjack TV, Zingo TV, channel 198, channel 199, 1 Mile High Radio in the building. Y'all know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who rock with us, you know what I mean? For it's all love. You know what I'm saying? Let's shout to the team, you know what I'm saying? Sean, Merv, Stacks, Becca, Tina B, Street Team General Tay Son, you know what I'm saying? For my co-host Nick J, you know what I mean, with me. Let me wrap this up real quick. With Death Row, you know what I'm saying? It was an era. It's an era I loved. It was a lot of great things born out of that era. You know what I'm saying? And I would say like this, right? Especially, if you're from the East Coast, you know what I'm saying? Just try to open your mind a little bit, you know what I mean, to let your mind travel. You know what I mean? To let the sounds in you travel to other places, because you're just gonna catch some dope shit, you know what I'm saying, along the way. So I just like, man, I know people really were locked into the East Coast at that time. And I'm like, look, but you in my car. You know what I'm saying? Hey, up, my first car, but you know what I'm saying? You in my putt. You know what I mean? Guess what? We rocking Death Row, and I still got speakers in the trunk. The speakers are worth more than the car. You know what I mean? Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, but it was a lot of fun, you know what I'm saying, that era. As far as everything else to happen, I'm gonna say like this: fans need their ass beat at NBA games. It should be acceptable, because I'm like, these people getting way too comfortable just saying what they want and thinking they're gonna do something and all of that. I just need one of them to get knocked out. I ain't even lying. I wish it was a player who already, banked like 100, 200 million, and just like, you know what? I don't care if I get kicked out the league forever. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna just hook on one ball one time. I'm really gonna hook off on him. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like the mouse and the pouch with Detroit and the Pacers, because they were hooking off on each other, and the fans thought they could get into it. Then they start hooking off on them. Nah, I'm just talking about, fans just talking shit. And, you just politely just walk over there. Wait a minute, what was that you said? And then boom, clock them. You know what I mean? For right then and there. I would be all for it. You know what I'm saying? Man, I would say that. Hopefully, with these comedians, I'm worried about that, because I think that's going to keep happening. People going to start running on that stage, and I'm just like, comedians, if you don't know how to fight, learn how to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because when they're running toward you, all you got to do is hit that little side step, you know what I mean, and then clock them, right? If they're going to run at you, just dip it and then clock them. You know what I'm saying? But that running on the stage thing, that's going to happen. So get it together, comedians. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what? That's our show. You know what I'm saying? We out. Thanks for rocking with us. You know what I mean? And y'all have a good night. Peace.